He is a fast and strong. So they're trying to get it pulling Minnesota right there, knocking him off balance. And of note, this stream we'll be trying to provide commentary for 4 different fights. So bear with us. We're gonna have four fights going on at the same time.
Andrew McCabe is fighting in the black with red and gold trim. Luke Derber is fighting in the gold and green. That's the gold and green of the Berserkers from Australia, one of our international teams competing this weekend.
And we always are excited to have fighters from other countries coming in, enjoying America. And strap fell off. It doesn't look like it's going to actually be much of a detriment to anyone. They haven't stopped to fight for it.
So it looks like the red list is going to be hosting the men's medium weight category.
The purple looks like we've already started the men's heavyweight with Bo Meal and BJ. Bo Meal coming internationally, typically fighting out of a white company from England. BJ fighting out of Dallas, sporting the Dallas tabard.
We're working to get cameras over to that list for you folks, but we'll commentate until you can see it. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Wonderful. Thank you, sirs.
Both fighters coming out strong. Bo Meal coming off of a gold medal from the men's pole arm division.
Also, I think it's interesting, we had the men's lightweight division earlier, and the choice of shield was all over the place. But so far with both the Luke and Andrew fight, and also Bo Mill and BJ over there, they're fighting with smaller bucklers. Looks like a bit more mobility.
Yeah, no, at least with the heavyweight there with BJ and Bo Mill, it's been a fight that BJ I know has been looking forward to. Bo Mill, one of the top fighters, profile fighters in the European circuit. He has a natural inclination to just body and body and body, using physicality more than a lot of other fighters will. And BJ coming in as a new fighter, trying to match that with his size and his own ferocity.
We also have action going on in the blue list. The blue list.
We're starting off with Amanda Hatt and Elizabeth Gifford for our women's medium. And then both donning 2-punch shields. And there in the yellow list, for men light heavy, we have Dakota Miller and Dylan Clifton.
Dakota was one of our duels competitors earlier today and took 3rd place in men's buckler. On the top left of your screen, you see the red list. Top right is the blue list. Bottom left is purple. And the bottom right is yellow, indicated by their flags for the fighters and the painted gates on your screens as well. On your top left, we have round 2 of Andrew McCabe and Luke Durbin. Ooh, hard shot.
They have a good shot to the thigh. A couple good punches there coming out of the blue ring. And in that blue fight, a good use of bodying up against the list, getting the leg shots in, taking away the space, scoring quick points.
A few pommel strikes there.
And in the yellow list, just the Berserkers just hammering down. And with the rules for the Outrance fighters, what we have is when they're on the ground, as long as they are still able to defend themselves and activity is going, they have continuation of a fight, and it won't be stood up. If there is a clinch for 10 seconds with no activity, the marshals will step in and stand them back up and reset the fighters and resume fighting. Purple list, a few good shots by BJ with good knees. Bo Mill trying to body him up, get a few thigh shots.
And we've seen these Australian fighters take the advantage in top position on ground fighting already earlier today in the men's lightweight division.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that fight, it was good use of Nick being able to not let him get over his guard, having the leg up, or let him cover in and just start getting free shots in. A short stoppage there in the purple list that resumed.
Bo Mill and BJ back at it in the purple list, bottom left of the screen.
And in a Soto there, A trip from Beaumont, trying to get over him, trying to get coverage. It's hard to tell, but Beaumont's wailing down shots on him. Couple to the head, couple to the body. Knees to the side while he's on the ground.
Back to the blue list. We've got the second round for the ladies down here.
Love seeing the Hound School. I think this is the second or third one we've seen today.
Good exchange of shots. With this tie-up, those leg shots would normally be an exchanged process, but one fighter's right-handed, one fighter's fighting left-handed right now. So the swords look like they're binding up just a bit.
Typically you have a 1-for-1 where the shields, trying to block the shoulder, and they're both wailing on each other's thighs. It does when you're both going on the same side. It's hard to really get anything but a glancing blow.
The first headbutt of the evening, though there were a few earlier today.
Good use of knees, scoring some points in there. Now it's harder when you're not hitting metal to metal and you're kind of hitting to the brig or hitting to the cloth, where you have to make sure those hits are visible so that the judges call them properly. It's easy to cheat out a hit when you can hear it. When you can't hear it and you deaden the sound.
The marshals just announced Andrew McCabe, the winner in the red list. And it looks like they're fighting in pools for their list within their weight class. Andrew McCabe is scheduled for at least 2 fights in his list that I saw. And Luke Derber as well.
They've resumed the yellow list there. It's Dakota Miller and Dylan Clifton. One of them looks like sporting a mace. I think it's the first mace of the event that we've seen so far. Trying to get there we go. Trying to throw. There you go. Going to take down. Trying to land a couple shots. Going to go across his guard.
And it's interesting that in MMA, that the ground and pound is typically done from a mounted position, a side mount position, or somewhere closer to the ground. But that would open up our competitors to be grappled by the grounded fighter, which would hold them neutral for up to 10 seconds and allow them to stand. Yeah. It looks like they've got all the Australian fighters that I've seen in this position have decided to stay standing to maintain that range and mobility to stay out of the clinch.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's working great.
It's much harder to try to grab that shield, stop that shield, because then you might have one, but if they're close in, you could possibly grab both arms with one grapple, right? So if they're standing up, if they're able to, if worst case scenario, if he's able to grab both hands, that's fine. You just drop a knee on their chest. It's a pretty quick way to get them to let go.
We got one up kick, but didn't look like it landed very well.
So it might have been the end of the round. Thought it a little bit slow to get up.
Thanks for joining us, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Buhurt International. We appreciate you being here with us on the live stream for day 1 of Carolina Carnage 2024. Make sure to set your local time to be ready at 10 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow morning, as well as Sunday morning, for a continuation of this weekend's combat. And I would like to introduce you for his first time announcing here at Carolina Carnage. This is Vincent. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me. Coming in from Dallas, announced a few times before, but yeah, excited to be here. Excited to get ready for for the melees for tomorrow. It's a little bit more than what I know of, and be able to commentate a little bit better on. But I'm excited to see a lot of these pro fights. There's a few fighters from my own team, from the Dallas Warlords, who are fighting tonight, and we would all be excited to watch them and see how they perform.
We're glad to have you here.
Oh yeah.
Also joining us tomorrow will be Nate the Moose Lord Maxfield, who is competing in longsword today. And I am Sim, the Witch Doctor Holloway, back again at Carolina Carnage. Happy to have you along with us. It looks like they're getting set up for possibly a third round in the blue list, but the marshals are still counting, so it may just stay at 2.
Same thing with the purple list. It looks like they're either tallying up the strikes there, seeing the points. Another talk with bone meal from one of the marshals.
And down to the blue list. Unfortunately, we don't have a card with a photo or a descriptor of the armors for each individual. So if you know the fighter, please shout it out in the chat for whichever source of live stream that you're bringing or that you're viewing us on.
And from the purple list, the winner between Bowmeal and PJ. Bowmeal takes the victory. So there's a slight pause because with the pro fights, the pools being a little bit smaller, taking a little bit longer pause between each fight because they're having to fight a little bit faster, consecutively.
And taking this wide shot of the arena here, there's something very important to point out. I'd like for you to see those seats across from you over there. Those are set out particularly for fighters and their folks. Some spectators may have drifted in over there, but the side where the cameras are, that's where the majority of the spectators are seated currently. And so we've got more and more people drifting in here. We're going to have an even bigger crowd tomorrow. Sierra, thanks for joining us on the live stream.
It's like we've started a fight there in the purple lists. It's in between Daniel Krug and Jason Noakes for the men's super ultra heavyweight. And it looks like Daniel Krug dropped him down, just landing blows. A couple big shots there to the thigh, to the hip.
Is that a mace?
That is a hand axe, 100%, just chopping him down, goodness gracious. And they will send them up if the fighter's unable to defend himself. And look at the ref is counting there. Unable to defend himself for 5 seconds, they will stop.
I didn't see any effective defense at that time.
And Dylan Craig trying to come in just for a quick swift victory. This weekend in Melees, we'll be fighting with Dominus. We also have, starting with on the blue list, for the women's light division, Jordan Cullen and Jen Druin.
Looks like it's hard to tell by the colors, but I wonder if they're teammates.
Might just be. Another mace, there we go, okay.
Well,
I enjoy seeing the variety.
In pro fights in the past, when I fought, I preferred to use a mace because it didn't seem as much work as swinging a falchion.
Oh, and a nice solo there, takedown.
A good left-handed shot.
Yeah.
But someone has dropped a weapon. The mace is on the ground. I'm not sure how they handle it in this scenario.
Yeah, I effectively think it might still just be a disarm, and if she's able to defend herself and keep it going and get the clinch and stop activity for a handful of minutes, like she's still able to perform actions.
The new ruling with extended ground fighting, it's kind of new for us here. We're waiting to see how the marshals play it out. I don't know if they're counting that as a knockout. They're not going to judges, so I assume they're counting it as a knockout.
I think so. It is saying that a loss of weapon or disarm, they're limited to 2 per round. And point deductions will happen if more than 2 weapons are lost disarms in a given round.
Well, that's interesting. 2 fights within the same short span of time, ending decisively on the ground. We've got action taking place in the yellow list. I believe that is Madison Hart and Heather Sanner. Nice headbutt with a punch to recover. We had a lot of great activity. We had a lot of great activity happening earlier today with the duels and the men's lightweight pro fights. You see some sweeps working in that yellow list. Takedown is worth 10 points plus all the additional points that can be scored. while your opponent is on the ground.
So I was able to find the rule here, to read it verbatim. The Knight Marshal will start a 5-second count. If the fighter continues to be unable to effectively defend themselves, the Knight Marshal will call stop fight and then knockout. So it looks like if within 5 seconds they're unable to effectively defend themselves, the fight will be over. So which is why you saw 2 quick fights there in the blue list and in the purple list in 2 very fast, decisive victories. Looks like we have 2 teammates there going at it.
I believe that may be Rochelle Hams and Belinda Qualls. Wait, I believe one of those competitors is fighting with a short 2-handed axe against a falchion and shield. It's an interesting choice.
It sure is. Now, for a lot of fighters, you know, with an axe like that and a mace, they really just become grapple sticks. And a great push down there. Lands some good shots to the head. Now the fighter on the ground needs to put that shield up. Just if she raises that shield up, she's able to effectively defend herself, and that fight won't be stopped. But at this situation now, she's not making much of an effort to actually defend herself. And you see the Knight Marshal there counting.
That looks like a knockout.
And that looks like a knockout right there. Standing the both up, and that'll be over. The third one already. Decisive victories.
We've got action getting ready to start on the red list. After a break, that looks like Andrew McCabe is back with a polearm against Jason McCardle.
Jason McCardle there in the black and silver, as most everybody else is, but you see him with the yellow pants, making him a little bit more distinguished. And McCabe there with the black and red aventail and the 2-handed axe. His weapon of choice typically when it comes to the melee fights. The purple list, we have a fight started with, looks like Bo Emil and Daniel. That's Bo Emil and Daniel Krug, both of whom will be fighting with Dominus tomorrow. Looks like they're trying to have a good time.
I believe this may be more of a exhibition than competition.
I think so, yeah.
In the purple list.
Just kind of having fun with each other. Teammates tomorrow, so I'm assuming neither of them wants to hurt each other. Any risk of injury.
That's interesting. It looks like Bohumil will be taking the win here. Even the Marshal has a smile on her face.
But doing the count correctly, and a 5-second count, and the fight is over. With Bohumil taking the victory of that.
Looks like we're getting the last bit of helmet attached down here in the red list, getting started soon.
Getting set up for the red list and the blue list, about to get started. Up at the top in the yellow list, we have Madison Hartke and Heather Sanner. Since we don't have graphics today, like Sam was saying earlier, that if you do know the fighters and recognize them, we're trying our best, but we don't know everybody by sight just yet. So if you know them, let us know in the chat. Red list there, McCabe coming with a hard strike to the head. Now this is going to be actually pretty interesting because you have a large reach difference, right? You have sword and buckler versus 2-handed axe.
And Andrew is such a mobile fighter and so mobile with the axe that he is able to really get in there up close in ways that maybe a typical sword and buckler fighter is maybe not as used to.
Yeah, with a lot of high-level axe guys, you can see Anna with a good Casoto there, takedown. A lot of high-level axe fighters, you will actually start seeing them use their 2-handed axe in unconventional ways than you maybe see with a lot of other fighters, which is just, swing as hard as they can wherever they can. We saw them earlier kind of using both sides, using it as a grapple tool. takedown there on the blue list as well. And this is what you see here on the screen. This is a great distinguishing factor from what we have for the Outrance fighters and fights to what we saw earlier today in the duels. Is this ground and pound that you won't have in the duels? Not necessarily more ferocious, as everyone in the duels going out as much as they possibly can, but you have a more MMA style fighting where you do have ground and pound, you have takedowns, all legal.
And it looks like the fight in the red list has been stopped. I don't know if that's by time or by judges' call.
And a great use in that blue list there, great use of the fighter on top, putting that knee on the fighter in the green's elbow so they weren't able to actually swing back and defend themselves. So if like she just did, lock down both arms there, and 5 seconds later, won the fight.
In the red list, Andrew McCabe advances. Melanie, thanks for watching from Perth, Western Australia, and thanks for sending the Berserkers up here for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sculpting Factory, thanks for giving your commentary on the extended ground fighting. It's something new for us here. This is my first time experiencing it as a viewer, so I'm interested to see how it plays out.
And we have a ruling decision there on the blue list by TKO, time stoppage.
Well, these fights are going so fast. I've never seen so many lists running for pro fights together at Carolina Carnage before. And with the early stoppages, these are really cycling.
They really are. Yeah, what we saw earlier today, some of those fights, going to round 3, like multiple fights going into the third round, because there was such good competition that we have here this weekend, that sometimes you get a little bit behind schedule. But what we have here today, fight stopping early. 2 of these fights stopping within the first 15 seconds of the fight. They get him, they knock him down. 5 seconds later, game over. Looks like we got the yellow list set up as well as the red list. In the red list, we have Ringo, very distinguishable there in the blue and yellow.
And in the yellow list, I believe we have Daniel Winter versus Raul Felix. Daniel Winter in the blue with the black and gold cross.
Fighting with the Dominus Tabard, and the one there with the Berserker Tabard. Both fighters will see each other tomorrow. Whatever they get out today, they'll see each other tomorrow on the list for the melees. And down there in the red list, we have, like I said, Ringo, but he will be fighting Johnny Porter right there in the black.
Daniel scored a takedown up in the yellow list.
Daniel, a high fighter out of England with White Company.
But Raul working to stand back up, taking some hard pommel shots on the way, but successfully recovers.
Yeah, that is a tough thing to do. Actually, that
is that maybe not Daniel Winter?
Because I think that's Daniel Winter's right there in the corner. We might have that mixed up for us, folks. We'll get that figured out. It's Alexander Das. That's who it is. It's Alexander Das. With the red and gray.
Okay.
I thought I recognized that. Yeah. But that's very difficult to do from the ground, stand back up, because you find yourself in a less protected position, and it's difficult to do, especially when your back is turned. Johnny there with a Soto right to the rails. Ringo.
Hard knee.
A big knee. Put his head down, possibly for another one. Johnny trying to get control of his weapon with his hand axe. Setting up for another knee. Ringo's seeing it, trying to defend with his leg. I think Johnny's trying to set up with a down rail Soto there. Ringo playing well in the corner. Johnny opened him up. Johnny, a great fighter.
Good knees coming in from Johnny.
We'll be fighting tomorrow with Dominus. Ringo fighting tomorrow for the Executioners. Both excellent fighters. And just the nicest of guys. But right now, you wouldn't be able to tell.
Interesting leg techniques. Working to take the other to the ground. But both of these fighters are melee experienced, I believe.
They are, yeah. Johnny for sure is an excellent swordsman, excellent single fighters, as well as Ringo. Ringo, I know with Kansas City fighting with polearm as well as longsword. Both excellent single fighters. I know for a fact Ringo here next into this month we'll be fighting in Nashville for another pro fight. And Ringo just trying to defend himself. Needs to get out of that corner. Johnny's going to back him up and Johnny's trying to get a down roll soto on him. And we have a stop fight in the red list.
I'm looking to see if we have a live update for the winners of the fights. If you're following along online at palmetto.com/Carolina-Carnage, we've had the schedule updated live with each winner. It looks like we may have another update here. Ah, yes, with tabard colors as well.
Excellent, yes. And as we said before, just the excellence of this event being run, the case in point, right? Case in point. And up there at the top we have, in the purple list, I know for a fact BJ is fighting. Let's see. Jason Noakes. BJ in the red, white, and blue, sporting the Dallas tabard. Jason Noakes, unfortunately on the ground right now. BJ giving him the business. And it looks like we have a stop fight there. And in the blue list, we have Belinda Qualls and Amanda Hatz.
Good tie up there. Good knee coming in.
In the red list, both those fighters, like, very, very fast fighters. It's interesting, typically when I see Ringo fight, he uses a lot of verticality, which he's not able to do as well this fight. Johnny is able to keep him tied up and really take control. Trying to seatbelt takedown, but he's able to take a big knee to the face. Ringo with an excellent stand-up.
It's almost like he took the energy from the knee.
Yeah, just to lift it back up. On wings like eagles. But it's still back in the corner again. Unfortunately, wasn't able to make much use of that stand-up, but difficult to do, and great job by him.
Looks like Johnny's getting ahead by points, but the marshals are calling to stop for some reason. Chiding Johnny for...
It's like a verbal warning for Johnny. Disarmed with Ringo, they put the sword back in hands.
Action continuing on the blue list for the ladies.
It looks like the yellow list has ended there with Alexander Das in the fighter with the Berserkers. What's a good name here?
It looks like Amanda is in the black and teal quartered. And Belinda in blue and, well, it says blue and gray on my sheet. Maybe there's a tabard over it.
I might just be the blue and the gray being the armor. Everyone in gray today.
Well, I think that's the black and teal.
Gotcha. Okay.
Green trimmed in a kind of pale green.
Coming in with the last seconds of the red list.
And
Johnny and Ringo.
Touch after the fact.
Have fought with and fought against both of them. Neither of them are fun to fight against, but they're wonderful to fight with.
Great teammates.
Yeah, it's great when they're on your team. Both back in the corner, just getting advice. And we have the yellow list. 2 new fighters coming in. That's going to be Daniel Renters and Raul Felix. Winter, excuse me, not Winters, Winter. Just to be clear.
Yes, this may have been the fight I was trying to call earlier.
really just means you're ahead of the game. I think that's what it is. You know.
Amanda declared the winner in the blue list.
In the yellow, we have Daniel Winter fighting with the Dominus colors, and Raul Felix fighting with his own. The green and yellow. I like that color. That's one you haven't seen much of. I like that a lot. The red accent really makes it stand out.
Nice so. Now, Dominus, they have two different teams that they typically fight with, correct?
So
I thought I'd seen a second type of Dominus tabard last year.
It might have been split up into two specific teams last year, but typically it is one team. I know recently they sported an A team. We could have an A team and the B team, but typically it is one.
Johnny Porter declared the winner in the red list. Action happening in the yellow list.
In the winter, fighting out of England as well, typically with White Company. Excellent top tier fighter. Good use of a headbutt there. A little bit of space.
Daniel was very agile, just dodging, like sidestepping out of a punch.
Yeah, he's a mean man with that falchion. And unfortunately, Raul, every time he creates space, Daniel is really quick to shut that down with his shot to the thigh.
And Daniel's fighting with a much smaller shield, but that lets him get in closer with some of those left-handed strikes.
Yeah, typically with a shield like that, typically with that very small buckler, it allows for better grappling. And so we see a lot of fighters who rely heavily on the grappling, as he's doing right now. There's not as much of an encumbrance with trying to get that shield around into a spot over the head they can't grab onto it as easily. Of course, it does leave spots open hard to protect. Versus the punch shield that Raul was using there, kind of shaped in that trapezoid shape. You see much different than those heater shields that the duelists were using earlier.
And I'm seeing Daniel use a similar technique in the Outrance fight here as he did earlier in the longsword. Longsword, he was very successful trapping his opponent's weapon and arms high with his left-handed striking right-handed. He's doing the same thing here.
He's a very experienced fighter. I mean, it's all even with with the duels. Is that if you're able to trap that top shoulder out, them just trying to, because typically a fighter will try to whip that falchion around, or the weapon around, and try to hit on either the back of the head or the back, but those won't count as deliberate strikes and are just a waste. So if you're effectively able to cut out that weapon arm with the shoulder, you're just getting free points, free strikes.
What you're looking at here on the blue list is Elise Ellington and Jordan Cullen. They've been fighting on the ground for a little while.
Elise there in the blue on top.
At the red list, we have Luke Derber in the green and yellow versus Jason McCarty in black.
Here's McCarty with a good step around, a good attempt. Try to step around the side, get an opening there above his buckler. Into the corner, trying to reap a leg. Now you will see that a lot with just pushing right down with the list. I would say you will see that a lot when you get someone in the corner. Is you'll see him square up into the corner and then turn to that side to open themselves up to be able to take strikes either to the high thigh, possibly into the stomach with a punch. But they kind of create space for themselves.
So with the fight being stopped while they were in the corner and Jason was on his back, the marshal is resetting them in the center of the list field in the same position.
Yeah, he fell through the list and they kind of just reset him.
And Luke definitely taking the advantage there. And again, following that Aussie tactic that we've seen so far today of standing over his opponent.
And those knee shots, it may seem where, you think, oh, sword strike, that's going to be doing your damage from on top. Why don't you hit with the sword? but those knees, every one of those knees, you have a full weight of the person on top of their chest, and it's already hard to breathe in those things. And so when you're able to take that breath away, it's like getting the wind knocked out of you every single time, every single one of those, and you just lower that gas tank, make it harder and harder to breathe.
But Jason doing a great job.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can't, even though you are on the ground and if under, you're still able to score points. So with each of those strikes, he was able to score points.
Now the Marshal stopped that on time, not on defense there.
Yeah, important to note. He was still able to effectively defend himself and strike back, which is why they didn't stop it as a TKO. Up in the purple list, you see there BJ, Dallas, fighting against Daniel Krug.
Working for the takedown. In this heavyweight, or this super heavyweight and ultra heavyweight list, takedowns are often ending fights up there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's good to see now BJ being a newer fighter and Daniel Krug being a high level grappler and not able to take him down yet as he was doing with the other fighters. We have round 2 started there with the red list. And with the yellow, waiting for a judgment call to see one between Raul and Daniel.
And
trying to go down for Soto on the red list and standing back up, reversing it.
Jason just powered up out of that takedown.
That is hard to do, and if you don't have, if you're trying to get into Soto and you don't have that drive, it is dangerous. And with a nice turning throw down there.
Jason's going to try to hold him on the ground. If he can hold him here for 10 seconds, the judges will stand him back up.
That was a great use of that falchion. Put it behind the head, get that grip in there with the bottom of his, with the bell of his gauntlet, and then use that as extra torque and turning it in. It just makes his own weapon a lever.
Now Luke still gets 10 points for the takedown, but Jason prevented that extra damage, the extra wear and tear on himself, as well as the extended points being gained from Luke having the advantage to stand up and strike down. Jason landing some strikes, moving in and moving back out, not looking to grapple, it seems. Jason trying to keep that range to not be taken down again. But Luke seems to be willing to strike at distance too. Hard buckler shots coming in from Luke. Body, head. Solid knee. Jason answering back with shield punches of his own. And a headbutt. And a headbutt met with a solid shield punch. Luke landing some leg shots to wrap up the round. And that's the second round.
Now, for those of you who are new to the sport and trying to figure out how are we scoring this, and how, when we say points, like where is it just every strike is a point, is it every contact is a point? So here we have for the rules that hits must be, for a hit to be counted as a point, must be clear, strong, and well placed to the permitted strike zones. There are illegal strike zones, even though it may not look like it when you have people just on top striking down. We have illegal strike zones, back of knees, the neck, groin area, but hits within the permitted strike zones that are clear and effective count as 1 point. But we're just striking with arms, fists, elbow, forearms, and shields. Points are only given for strikes to the head or torso.
Oh, good strikes, landing a takedown. I believe that is Rochelle Hams on top in Burgundy. On your screen now, we're back to
like Alexander Das. Trading blows there.
hard shots, but his axe is stuck on the inside. A going to limit effectiveness.
With Dylan Clifton, that was Nerdas there in the Dominus Tavern. Clifton there with the blue and white Aventail.
That mace looks like it's free for the moment.
Yeah, he's able to kind of get that around and get a good handle on it. Able to transition through, kind of turn around. Oh, and it's a quick takedown there. Looks like he kind of just stepped in front of it and just drug him down.
Looks like the Dominus fighter's on top.
Laying a couple of knee blows there. So when you are taken down, a lot of the fighters who are effectively able to take down or score takedowns have been doing really well about as soon as they take down, they remain in a good, strong dominant position to land strikes. It's hard seeing a takedown, whether it be accidental or not, and then end up either on the side, not able to take advantage of the actual takedown.
News from the red list, Luke Gerber had his hand raised against Jason McCardle.
Trying to score this good conservative points.
And
looks like they're resetting there in the blue list. I believe they'll be doing the same thing that we just saw a fight ago in the red, where as they fell through, they'll put resume fight back in the middle in the same position.
Is that BJ and Daniel Krug?
That is. That was the end of round 2 with Daniel Krug and BJ. BJ Scott. Fighter from my own team.
In the blue list, it looks like the marshals reset those fighters. And Rochelle maintaining dominant position in the blue field.
The red list, the marshals deliberating, tallying up the points. Oh, excuse me. It's like they're clarifying the rules with each other for the next fight.
Keep in mind, folks, Carolina Carnage 2024 is the largest competition ever in our hemisphere. It is probably the 8th largest competition by competitor numbers in history. Well, in modern history.
Modern history, yes. In the ye olden days, And it is like I keep saying. I'll say it some more. Like it is really fun having other countries represented here. In a lot of other competitions, it's harder for the U.S. to then to go out, and a lot of other countries come into the U.S. just because you got to cross an ocean to get here, and so it's pretty difficult to get a lot of European fighters, a lot of European teams over here.
Travel isn't cheap, even within the United States, much less international travel.
International travel with 2 suitcases full of metal, right? It's not the easiest thing, and so I mean this is just a testament to how good this event is when you have such a high representation of not just American teams, but international teams.
Looks like both fighters working the knees and attempting takedown and defense.
What we saw from some other fights that the clinch, they're just like wailing knees. Like both of them are trying to find good openings and making sure their knees count. Just like we said earlier, they need to be clear and effective strikes. And sometimes it's difficult with knees, especially in a position like they are right now, that if you're hitting them kind of right in the thigh, it doesn't count. Now, it may be good to tenderize, but as far as scoring points, they're not as effective. So you kind of get that toss-up. It's like, well, how effective would this knee be right here if it's not scoring? If I get a couple in, maybe they start defending and we can throw some with the strikes. But
in the blue list, we have Jen Druid and Lisa Hoy.
Both fighting with Falchion and Buckler.
Fleet footwork out of these 2 fighters so far.
Yeah, the fighter in the orange tabard so quick, able to get in and out and create that distance before the one in the blue is able to actually get a good strike in.
Jen in the black and orange skull grim tabard. And we've got Lisa in the dark blue over green.
Now you will see, as you see right here in the blue list, some shields do have kind of a coat of arms sigil on them. Other ones don't. It's been fun kind of seeing the difference and the uniqueness of the fighters kind of individualizing their shields, their weapons, their armor. Like Bohemiel there, switching up to a two-handed axe.
Bohemiel versus Jason Noakes in the purple list.
Different than what he was using earlier, but and a Soto there, taking him down.
And a walk-off.
I believe probably with some of the warnings he's got earlier, might be he's scoring points through takedowns. He's doing it effectively. There's no use to keep going, but slow to get up.
We have some folks moving quick. We might have our first maybe medical attention at the moment. We're back down here to the blue list. That wraps up round one for Jen and Lisa. Jason back to his feet.
The crowd cheering him up. I think they might have called that in that first fight. The first fight against Krug, he did take unfortunately a lot of strikes there to the outside of the hip, and it might be wearing on him.
Fighter in the Dominus tabard in yellow.
Alexander Doss taking the victory in the yellow list.
And in the red list, it looks like we're prepping for
Andrew McCabe and Ringo.
Outstanding.
Ringo fighting with Executioners tomorrow. McCabe fighting with Kinyes, I believe. All of these fights here tonight have just been so ferocious.
Yes.
Everyone has been coming out, and it is a lot of fun to see.
Well, the level of competition just keeps growing here at Carnage. On the right side of your screen in the blue list, Lisa's working knees into Jen. But Jen seems to be defending. I wonder if the judges are seeing that shield blocking those knee strikes.
Yeah, so look at that buckler in there. Which is
what a hard right
the
hand.
buckler there is that you can defend those knees and be able to get that buckler out. With a couple of good shots there to the side. The speed with both those fighters.
Great combination from Andrew, answered back by Ringo.
And that speed, both fighters being able to find openings and get all clear strikes of both of those fighters. That is just a testament exactly what you were saying with high-level fighting that we have here today. Good hip kick there by Ringo. A couple good shots. Two left jabs with the two punch. Down the bottom of the list.
A good exchange going on in the blue.
Nice shot there to the hip. Right, another one to the hip.
Jen,
two good clear shots to the hip.
Jen taking advantage of the height of her opponent to take those leg shots in, working her range to stay out of the way of those knees.
Yeah, it looks like she's kind of outpacing the other as well.
On the red list, it looks like Andrew McCabe's axe has been broken.
That is with the third weapon of the evening, the fourth weapon of the evening that has been broken.
Along with the marshal staff.
A marshal staff better than the marshal.
Absolutely.
Right? We'd rather have that break than the breaking of a marshal.
Andrew's picked up a sword.
Changing from a hand axe to a sword there. Now, as we've seen with these other pro fights, or excuse me, the Outrance fighters, that they can use the weapon of choice. So,
absolutely.
this is what we saw earlier with McCabe's fight, him having a two-handed axe versus the sword and falchion, or the falchion and buckler, each having to play a little bit different based on style, weapon of choice, and more importantly, weapon of preference.
And it's almost like having a caddy with you on the golf course to look at your opponent, see who you're going to be facing next, and say, I want my 5-axe.
Oh, what a great takedown! Yeah, my 5-axe. Yeah, it seems like a 100-yard hit. I might do a little wood right there. Like a 9-iron.
I believe that was stopped on time.
Into the round, and a good time too, because Ringo's not in a great position at the end of that round.
We have action beginning up on the yellow list. I believe that might be Daniel Winter and David Albert. David Albert in the black or dark blue.
Sporting that red, white, and blue buckler there.
Jen having her hand raised in the blue list. A tie up top in yellow. Fighters looking to clinch. Good knee from David.
And with those knees, height plays into effect as well. You're a taller fighter, longer legs. With someone shorter, you're able to make a little bit easier contact with the knees. Someone shorter, it's a lot harder to drive that knees high enough to actually make an effective strike.
Oh my God, let's go!
Looks like back in the red list, both fighters have actually changed to hand axes, going from swords to hand axe. A nice little whirlwind strike there by Wingo. Not too effective. But the flourish makes it fun.
Andrew's always very effective with his takedowns in melee, having a little bit of trouble one-on-one getting those leg sweeps to be timed right. Just a testament to the stance of Ringo.
Daniel Winter there on the yellow list, just trying to hammer David down. From our angle, it looks like he has him bent over, and he's just kind of hitting into the top of the back, maybe the back of the shoulder. It's hard to tell exactly what angle he's at and where that head is. Good leg strike in the red list by Ringo.
Trying to see his elbow to make sure McCabe's left elbow armor is still intact.
Yeah, it looks like the knee cop's a little loose.
Looks like something's on the ground down there. I can't quite
There
tell.
was a strap that popped off earlier. I think they picked it up, so it might not be that.
He has no elbow armor on his left elbow.
Which fighter?
Can you see that? McCabe.
From this angle, I can't.
I'm going to try to address that with the marshals real
Yes.
quick.
That looks like maybe just a bad angle and probably just loose, because it looks like the elbow cop is on. It's probably just loose, and from that angle it looked like it was slipping off. And while there is violence here today and high tenacity combat, the armor's there for a reason. We stop fights for armor malfunctions. We need, and it's important for all our fighters to remain safe.
I believe his elbow cops are attached to his van braces rather than his rear brace.
Yeah. And so it looks like there's a small gap on the top of his elbow. Yeah. And if there is a gap, I mean, just don't get hit there.
Well, yeah, a gap that falls outside of the required protected points.
Yes.
is a risk a fighter is allowed to take.
Now, when we say gap, so if you'll notice, most everywhere, at least on the front of the fighter and some on the back, they are covered by armor. Now, there are spots in the person where it's not covered. Now, there are required cover spots where you have shoulders, forearm, all the arms, elbows, knees, front of thigh. Now, that leaves the back of thigh open. A lot of times with fights like this, you'll have a lot of fighters just use their greaves that are the front, the greaves of the armor that covers the cap. This is going to be the front. But tomorrow you may see more with fighters with greaves that cover all around their leg, because there's in danger for being struck from behind.
In the blue list, I believe we're about to get started with Belinda Qualls and Elizabeth Guilford.
So when we say gaps, there might be a movement or a spot in the armor that is not covered. So when you get hit there, it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good.
No. But while the weapons here we're competing with are blunted weapons, they're not intended to be sharp. When a sword makes contact with another sword, it can chip, it can create a burr that can be sharp.
Yes.
And through testing that Palmetto Knights has done, through testing that Shadiversary has done, and so many more, these layered protective gambesons do a wonderful job preventing against slashing and cutting. So those burrs really aren't as much of a problem until somebody tries to grab a blade, which is prohibited.
Absolutely. You can grab weapons, but not any weapon blade. A handle, a grip, a pommel, but not the blade of the weapon. Yes, one weapon is sharp, and actually every weapon that you see here this weekend, today included, has actually been tested and been approved to be fought with. So there is a requirements for each weapon to go through testing to make sure it's not too sharp, not too pointed, and they are within the bounds of safety.
Absolutely. On the red list, we're about to get started with Johnny Porter and I believe Luke Derber. I'm expecting that to be a very fast, not short fight, but a very speedy type of combat.
Fast-paced fight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fast-paced.
Fast-paced.
For sure. A nice clinch there we see in the blue list.
Good leg shots there to score.
Yeah, they're going to push it right into the corner. Absolutely.
And this is another case of a right-handed fighter and a left-handed fighter. But for a moment there, it looked like they were going to tie up weapon side close to the list. Now they've moved away from that to have some striking room.
And what you want to see with fights, and you'll see some like really utilize their space well, is if you're able to kind of push them up against the list and take out a route of escape, you can press them up against there and get a lot of good free shots. And so what the fighter in blue really should be wanting to do, as you're doing right now, is press up against the list and try to hammer that thigh. And if there's an opportunity to put him right into that corner, you take away a lot of movement of defense, a lot of opportunity to get out and score points back. So see a lot of these fighters who aren't able to utilize space well, or some of these larger fighters who like to be very physical and body other fighters, will put them into the list and try to keep them there effectively as possible. Kind of like what Johnny was doing with Ringo earlier. He got him into the corner and wasn't allowed him out, and Ringo was just trying to have to defend himself.
We were discussing earlier marshals being able to protect their hands, their heads,
yes,
and the rest of themselves. And it looks as though maybe the marshal that was hit in the hand earlier has decided to protect her hand with a small buckler, possibly. Mm-hmm. I think that is a wonderful decision.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've seen occasionally some marshals have just the full gauntlet on, because so they, as you've seen, they have you can see right there and in that shot the yellow sticks to kind of keep them out of range of danger. But strikes happen. Actually, one marshal got hit in the hand earlier today, and which is why she is using the buckler she is now. And this event couldn't be possible without the help of these marshals. Wonderful volunteers.
Absolutely.
Wonderful staff.
Luke pressing Johnny to the list, but Johnny returning with a good takedown. Johnny landing a couple of knees.
Knees to the side, looks like.
Now, I couldn't tell what type of body armor Luke has, but there's often a gap on the side of body armor there where those knees could drive plates in toward ribs, being very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and if that arm's stretched out, it looks like Johnny had that elbow up, so that side and this side of the brig was stretched out, which pushes those plates closer into the side, and you feel those shots worse than you would if the rig was a little bit loose.
Johnny working back control, switching sides, trying to knee Luke in the head.
Great job with Johnny keeping pressure on him, not allowing him to stand up. Excellent use of pressure. What we saw earlier with the other fights is that they weren't able to maintain pressure. The fighter was able to stand up, gets reset. You got to maintain pressure, keep a dominant position, and you keep throwing those knees in the head and to the side, keep scoring those points.
Up on the yellow list, I believe we have Rachel Shea and Freya Celeste.
That's right.
Freya Celeste in the blue and white.
And Rachel Shea, unfortunately, on the ground right now.
On the red list, Johnny is back with top control. Luke working to stand back up.
And each one of those shots onto the head with that shield are counted as points, so he's just scoring. And this might be a 5 count because he is not able to defend himself at all. But Johnny not allowing that to happen, turning around, a big knee to the head.
That looks like that'll end the fight.
Yeah, they might have stopped it. I'm not sure if that was the end of the round or if that was a TKO. It looked like it might have been a TKO, and they weren't able to stop right until they stood back up. We'll see the decision here in a second. Nice clinch in the blue list.
In the blue list, I believe we are back to Elisa Ellington in the blue and Jen
Rowan
in the orange and black Skullgrim Tavern.
Jen, I hope we're saying that name correctly.
We're doing our best, folks. Elise working the tie and then pull.
There we go. Trying to push it back through.
And how are they going to reset that one? They're gonna have her bend over.
And Jen trying to get a takedown and reversed by Elise.
She's got her in a half guard there. A good position to be able to keep her on the ground and force a stand-up.
Yeah, and a great job by Jen trapping those arms, trying to get for a 10-second count. So if 10 seconds without any effective striking, they will stand it back up, and she's doing a great job taking control of both arms, not allowing Elise to strike, and being stood back up. That's great. That is exactly what you want to do if you're in the bottom position, to trap the arms, get 10 seconds, and get stood back up.
Taking a look at the YouTube comment section right now. No, Grimble, they cannot stick them with the pointy end. That is not allowed.
If there is a thrust or a stab, it is a card.
And not a good day for anybody. I was fighting at a practice one time and I got stabbed in the eyebrow.
That's in case exactly why you don't want stabbing. There have been horror stories about eye pokes, and
an eyebrow was a much better outcome than an eyeball.
That's the joke about wolf ribs, right? You'll lose an eye.
Elise working from distance.
Nice clinch with Celeste there in the yellow list.
Jen looks like she has a little bit of a shorter reach than Elise.
Jen has been doing...
How's this going to turn out? She's got an arm.
That will be interesting to see if she actually gets the points for that takedown, if that was effective, like purposeful, or if that was, they both sort of fell together. Because the takedown needs to be deliberate. And this has been a great fight with both of these.
Absolutely.
Takedowns from both the fighters. If Jen's able to get that leg around, at least seeing it, switching her hips back around. If she can get that hip back behind Elise, she might be able to, or just turn her right around. There you go.
But
Jen with a great takedown.
Jen with an open left hand to strike.
Now Elise needs to get her arm out because she's in a position where she's not able to defend herself. If Jen keeps her arm trapped with a 5-second count, that's going to be a TKO.
Looks like the Marshall's giving her some latitude.
2, 3, 4, and 5.
And that's the fight.
That was a quick end to a great fight. Wow.
Wow.
The grapple work that Jenna showed with both of those, geez, from under and above, top and bottom position, that is excellent performance by Jen.
So Elise has also joined us for the Dragons Cup tournament at DragonCon in Atlanta. And we were talking about gorgeous armors earlier today.
Oh, yes.
And she has a beautiful set of 15th century Gothic.
You know, for a while she was sporting a Gothic design. I know just recently she's bought a few new pieces, trying them out.
Well, I think 15th century Gothic armor is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer fighting in 14th century and appreciate the quality and detail that goes into it. But, I mean, shiny is shiny.
Shiny is shiny. It's about the drip. I mean, when it all boils down to it, it's about the drip. Now, all the armor you see here today is between the 14th and 16th century armor. All real, historically, and purposefully historically accurate.
Absolutely. And the authenticity committees are involved in making sure that the rules for authenticity are followed, not only for the armor itself, but for the weapons that accompany it.
Absolutely. Now, there is allowable of modern equipment beneath the armor.
Absolutely.
Such as padding, and I know a lot of fighters use motorcycle padding, specifically on the spine, which is very important, in kind of other areas where they might get struck in. So that's fine, but outwardly it needs to look authentic and have nothing modern on it.
I'm aware of at least one time that old armor was worn on the field. Many of these old stories, one of the Japanese fighters from many years ago wore a family heirloom breastplate.
Oh, really? I got chills. That's so cool.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Generations in a family from one fighter to another down the years to then see combat. Friendly combat this time.
Of course.
Let's see who we've got on the blue list. That's going to be Amanda Haight and Rochelle Hams.
Immediately going into a clinch. It's good use of that two-handed axe to press that head down. You can see her trying to reach around. Like we said, you cannot grab the blade, but grabbing both sides of the handle is perfectly fine. You do see a lot of axe fighters get into this exact position. You're able to use that as a better leverage point to twist them around, as she's trying to do currently. Twist her down, kind of like a cow collar.
And
Cattle catcher.
some piece of metal just fell, but it looked like just a rondelle.
Now, where some pieces will fall off, there are supplemental pieces of armor that are okay to have, quote-unquote, an armor malfunction from. But effective pieces, shins, knees, elbows, shoulders, helmets, if those are not allowed to have armor malfunctions. And the fight was stopped for a lot of amount of time for them to fix it. But for that case, the rondelle, the small little circle that you saw fly off, it's okay. They'll continue fighting.
And for the moment, it looks like the blue list is almost 30 minutes ahead of schedule.
I mean, with how fast these fights have been going, for sure.
Up top in the yellow list,
So David Albert and Raul Felix.
David in the dark blue or black, Raul in the green and yellow.
On the blue list, they're looking to see if there's activity going. And each one of those strikes, you saw her elbow go up. Each one of those strikes means there is continual activity, and they will remain on the ground.
And it stopped on time in the blue list.
That's the end of round one. And big pommel strikes to the edge of the pommel of the falchion for Raul. Trying to pop David's head down. David being a taller fighter is going to be a little bit harder for Raul.
Good buckler shots from David.
No, not. Never mind. About the same size. I guess taller than me comparatively. Good use of that body. Brought him up against the list. He just has the wrong side. David was able to turn to the other side. Be able to get a few strikes in.
Good head shot there.
Good use of Raul, being able to get out of that position. Keep working around. David's doing really well, zoning him into corners, zoning him into the list,
But
and kind of taking control of the space.
Rawls still circling to that shield side. Daniel's got him caught now.
Yeah, that's the side he wants to be on. If he's able to get that arm free, see, he's bodying him up, but he's not taking control of it. So if he's able to get that headlock in and get that right arm free to get the strikes against the thigh, that should be what he's looking for. Yeah, if he's able to just get that body in, turn his hips out. Good reversal there for Raul and pushing him back down.
And a good knee.
He's got to maintain the pressure.
Looks like he's braced pretty well in the corner.
Yeah, Raul's got to work his way up, just like that. Keep pulling down. He can either pull him forward or just knock him right down, just like that. It's kind of hard to tell, but David is on the ground. And this might be called for time, I believe.
I don't know that there was enough time to stop it for any other reason.
Yeah, the count hadn't started because he was almost in a position where David was unable to defend himself. David, I know, fighting out of Florida. One of his Floridian teammates there. They'll both be fighting melees tomorrow.
One of the melee teams, the Florida men. Florida men always dangerous to have
Florida
around.
men fighting out of Florida, probably Florida.
Every state has a Florida man.
And unfortunately, Florida has all of Florida. Now we love Florida. We love our Florida friends.
And it looks like we have Jordan Cullen and Lisa Hoyt down in the blue list. Or is this may be a continuation of Amanda and Rochelle? There may have been an armor failure. There was kind of a delay down there.
This is great control. The fighter in red.
In the red list, we have Johnny Porter and Andrew McCabe.
This is also going to be a fast, explosive fight. It'll be interesting to see if they stop for a second. Yep, they're going right at it. Both high-level grapplers, and a great reversal there by Johnny.
Andrew went down hard.
Andrew trying to get that first little grapple in, the first throw in. Johnny reversing it. Johnny's such a high-level grappler.
That was a fast takedown.
It was. And great use of controlling a limb. It's hard to kind of see on your screen, even hard from our angle, see what's actually going on. Looks like they got Andrew a little bit farther at the list. They'll probably reset in the middle, resume position. Such fast, explosive fighters.
And it looks like Johnny has an arm, Andrew's right arm pin.
Yeah. Andrew has to get that arm out. He's able to get his knees up and just kind of, yes, exactly, right there. Just bridge up and try to get that arm, just enough to squeeze that arm out. And Johnny might be getting the 5 count here.
It's hard to
tell, yeah, if this is an offensive, oh, great turnaround.
Well, in this type of position, in grappling another, he attempted a roll.
Jeez, yes. Andrew's doing great about almost getting up, but awesome use for Johnny to maintain control and get back over his guard in full mount. And if he's able to isolate that arm.
That's a 5 count.
Yeah. Marshall's trying to stop
steps
fight.
in to stop the fight.
They might have called it. Yep. Looks like it was called for TKO. Both fighters having
An
each other.
intense fight in the men's medium weight division.
We have the end of the fight as well on the blue list. Waiting to see if that was a TKO or if that was just the end of round 2. It'll be tallied up by points. Yellow list consorting with their corners. Johnny Porter with the win for the red list.
Wow, these fights are moving so quickly.
They really are.
And I believe that's the last fight scheduled for the red list this evening. I'm wondering if they're going to be saving the, because they have them fighting in pools. I wonder if they're generating a second portion of this list, semifinals and finals, somewhere else, or if they're going to have them fight it out on Sunday. That'd be a tough fight with these melee folks.
Yes, absolutely. After 2 days of fighting melees, going to come back in and do a one-on-one.
Well, thanks for joining us here in beautiful Pendleton, South Carolina. It is 8:20 local time, 8:20 p.m. local time on the East Coast of the United States. Joining me here is Vincent. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely love being here. First time. Actually, this is my first time in South Carolina. So it's I mean, it's beautiful. Weather's great. We're surrounded by nature over here. I absolutely love it.
And we've got some results for you from the duels earlier today. In women's buckler, Kaylee Houston took first place. Christine Napolitano was second, and Elise Ellington placed third. In men's buckler, Nicholas Homa won, taking gold. Sean Kennicott took second, and Dakota Miller was third. Women's sword and shield, first place, gold, was Katie Bowman. Second place was Kaylee Houston. Excuse me, the first place was Katie Bowman. Second place was Kaylee Houston. And third was Gina Rodriguez. We're going to get you back to the action in the blue list and bring you some more results later on.
And we have our last fight here in the blue list with Jordan Cullen and Lisa Hoy. Both fighters coming out strong. Mason hand axe.
I believe Jordan is going to be in the tan and green, and Lisa in the blue over green.
And a great takedown.
Hard left-handed shots now alternating.
And even though those shields are small, those with the edge of that buckler, those punches are more effective than you would think. I mean, even with the armor, you still feel them.
I'm wondering if a marshal has started a count yet.
Yeah, it looks like she's not. Good bridge. Keeping that weight on her hips. Yeah, it's hard to tell if this is judged as a defense, is able to defend herself.
Not seeing much movement. Marshall's taking a closer look.
Yeah, I don't see her effect. I don't see her counting yet.
Well, there's some aggression from the bottom.
Anytime she defends, the counter resets. We're allowing it to continue. And not out of the list just yet. And the fighter on the bottom, not out of the fight yet. Trying to bridge up, getting that space.
But she's protected here. A few more seconds and they may stand him up.
Yeah, and a lot of fighters, you know, they bridge and they're able to get out, and it's sometimes not too difficult to bridge, you know, if you're able to get that weight over. But if you're trying to bridge with an extra 80 pounds on yourself, and then another 250 pounds on top of you, you know.
And the fight is called on time. We'll go to the next round in just a moment. Up top in the yellow list, we have Raul, and is that Daniel?
That's David Albert.
David.
Yes.
I don't see a marshal in there. They may be just getting photos after a victory. We'll see if we can get you a result from that fight.
We have the end of round one in the blue list. And I believe is our last fight of the evening.
Unless they're doing some type of championship round.
Yeah, they might do a break and do some more at the end, because it looks like some of these fighters haven't de-armored yet. Some have.
Well, I could have swore I heard a floor announcer say a 10-minute intermission, but that didn't happen, and that was more than 10 minutes ago.
It might be running concurrent
That's
with
true.
this fight right here.
We've got, let's see, in the red list, we have our winners posted. Johnny Porter taking gold, Andrew McCabe, silver, and Evan Ringo, the bronze.
This is out of men's medium.
For women's light, not sure what that means, so we're going to wait a minute on that. But for women's medium, first place is Rochelle Hams. Second place for the silver is Liz Gifford. And third is Amanda Hay. In men's super ultra, a combined category here. First is Bohumil, no surprise there, fighting out of White Company. Second is Crew. And third for bronze is BJ.
And you can see on your screen, we've started round 2 for the blue list. I've been trying to go for another takedown.
Very effective in the first round.
Yeah, with how successful she was, I mean, that's exactly what she should be doing again. When she get down there, she can control that fight. Now, yeah, her what looks like being having the height advantage and have that longer leg to mount on. It's much harder to bridge when you have shorter legs, especially with someone taller. We're not able to get that weight forward.
She's looking for that takedown,
almost getting it, but good use of trying to lean back into the rail.
If she can turn her away from the rail.
Oh, a tree throw, unsuccessful, and falling down.
Well, we'll see how fast the count starts. There it goes now. That count started really fast compared to some of the other ones we've seen on the ground.
Stop the fight.
Looks like they're going to stand them up and recenter them.
Fighter's slow to get up. I mean, yeah, this late in the day after a full day of fighting, I would be too. We're sending them both up. Resume round 2. The fighter in there in the blue and green just really dominating the space. Really just been bodying up her up into the list of the corner for both rounds.
Both fighters looking a little winded. Some of those knee shots. Well, there you go. They stop on
And
time.
we had to stop in the round 2.
Well, maybe stop.
I mean, to her credit, it's sometimes hard to see, and when you're so tunnel visioned, it's hard to see in the helmets in general, right? So when you're tunnel visioned a fight like this, even though if that flag is in your face, sometimes you don't even see it. So this might be the break. This might just be the end.
I'm not seeing any other fighters in armor at the moment.
Yeah, I guess the ones who were just in armor look like they're starting to take it off.
While we're waiting for this result to come through, we'll bring you some of the results from earlier today. Men's Sword and Shield, first place for gold was Stephen Galligan. Second place, Nick Homa. Third, Andrew Ali. Women's Long Sword Division, gold was Celeste. Silver, Beth Hammer. Bronze, Katie Bowman. Men's Long Sword, gold went to Daniel Winter. Second place, silver went to Andrew Ali. And third to Samurai. Men's pole arm was won by the world champion Bo Mill. Second place went to Zale.
Zale. Give my name for you here.
That was my handwriting, not the name that was so weird. And third place went to Ethan. For the women's polearm division, first place was Celeste, and second place was Spencer.
The final results of this last fight. Let's have a round of applause for all of our fighters today.
taking the
winner
victory
of the last fight.
very decisively. In both of those rounds, she just had full control.
I imagine we will probably be having an award ceremony for Outrance pretty soon. So if you're just joining us this evening, we had a whole day of duelist fights. We had a great evening of Outrance fights. And we are done ahead of schedule. How in the world did that happen?
I mean, these fights were just ended so decisively and so quickly. You know, it happens.
We're going to stick with you for a little while on the live stream to give you a little bit of a wrap up as well as a move forward for tomorrow. So first of all, and most importantly, in about 14 hours, we will be picking up, a little less than 14 hours, we'll be picking up the Saturday 5 versus 5 men's and women's competition.
That's right.
Throughout the day. And we'll be going, I believe, until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, it's a full day. It's absolutely between 5 and 7. You know, granted, if things run on time, you know, today was a little bit fast. Or this evening was a little bit fast. Today was a little bit later. But hopefully, if everything runs smoothly, runs on time, it should be around 5
Over 450 competitors this year. Not just the duelists, but many of the duelists are they're not double counted for the melees, but individuals registered. That's a lot of folks. We also have enough to do 12 versus 12 on Sunday. So we have a few 12 versus 12 teams available. And of course, wrapping up with the all versus all, I hope, at the end.
Yeah, that is the most fun. It is the closest thing to a medieval war that any of us will ever come to.
And if you're local to the South Carolina upstate region, make sure you come out and join us in beautiful Pendleton, South Carolina at the T. Ed Garrison Arena. You can buy tickets for Saturday alone, Sunday alone, or the whole weekend together and save some money. We've got lots of great competition continuing on. We've got lots of great vendors, including an axe throwing trailer that has shown up on site that some people were using during the intermission earlier, and I think I might be trying to use during the intermission tomorrow. If you see Vince, excuse me, and Maxfield over here, and I'm either eating or throwing axes, or possibly eating and throwing axes.
I mean,
together.
you only really need one hand. It's a one hand for a sandwich, one hand for an axe.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
That's what you want.
We'd like to give a big thank you to our support crew here, to our marshals, to our field staff, to our registration table, to our folks handling the check-in for the spectators coming. A huge thank you to our tech folks here. Greg, Derek, and Joel, of course, doing a great job over here in the booth, making sure we can bring this wonderful show to you folks. Make sure to join us again tomorrow for day 2 of Carolina Carnage 2024.
Look forward to seeing you all there. Bring the friends, bring your family. Tune in. Have fun.